When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done. When the battle's lost and won.
That will be ere the set of sun.
Where the place?
Upon the heath.
There to meet with Macbeth and on.
Fair is foul, and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and filthy air.
This is the sergeant who, like a good and hearty soldier, fought against my captivity. Hell, brave friend, say to the knowledge of the broil as thou didst leave it.
Oh, doubtful it stood, the merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel, for to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him, showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak for brave Macbeth. Well, he deserved that name. Disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, smoked with bloody execution, like valor's minions carved out his passage, till he faced the slave, and ne'er shook hands nor bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him from the knave to the chap, and fixed his head upon our battlements.
Oh, valiant cousin, hardy gentlemen!
Oh, Mark, King of Scotland, Mark! No sooner justice had, with valor armed, that would compel these skipping kerns to trust their heels. But the Norwegian lord, surveying vantage with furbished arms and new supply of men, began a fresh assault.
Dismayed of this, our captains Macbeth and Banquo.
Oh, yes, oh, like sparrows, eagles, or the hare of the lion. If I say soon, I must report they were as cannons overcharged with double cracks, till they doubly double their strokes upon thy foe. But I am faint, my gaseous cry for help.
So well thy words become thee, as thy wounds. They smack up on a bow. Go, get him surgeon. Who comes here?
The worthy Thane of Ross.
When a haste looks through his eyes, so should he look that seems to speak things strange.
God save the king.
Whence camest thou, worthy man?
From Fife, great king, where the Norwegian banners flout the sky and fan our people cold. Norway himself, with terrible numbers, assisted by that most disloyal traitor, the Thane of Cawdor, began a dismal conflict, point against point, rebellious, arm against arm. We curbed his lavish spirit. And to conclude, the victory fell on us.
Great happiness! No more that Thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interests. Go and present his present death, and with his former title, preach Macbeth.
I'll see it done.
Where hast thou been, sister?
Killing swine.
Sister, where thou?
A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I, a drink thee which, the rump-fed Runyon cried. Her husband to the sea is gone, but in a sieve I'll bid her sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do, and I'll do.
I'll give thee a wind.
And I another.
And I myself have all the others, and the very ports they blow. All the quarters that they know, I will drain him dry as hay, Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live, a man forbid. Worrisome nights, 9 times 9, shall he dwindle, peak, and pine. Though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest tossed.
A drum, Macbeth doth come.
The
Weird sisters, hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus do go about, thrice to thine, and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9.
Hold!
Peace, the charm's wound up.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
How far is called a forest? Oh, God! What are these? So withered, wild in their attire, that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are still haunt. Live you, or are you aught that a man may question? They seem to understand me. By each at once their chappy finger lie on their skinny lips.
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis.
All hail Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor.
All hail Macbeth. Thou shalt be king hereafter.
Good sir, why do you seem to start and fear things that do seem so fair? In the name of truth, are you fantastical? Or that indeed which ye outwardly show? My noble friend here, you meet with present grace and great prediction of royal hope and of noble having. Yet to me, you speak not. If you can peer into the seeds of time and decide which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate.
Hail,
Hail.
Hail.
lesser than Macbeth, and greater.
Greater. Not so happy, yet much happier.
Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
Stay, you imperfect speakers. Tell me more. By Sinno's death I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives, a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greeting. Speak, I charge you.
The earth hath bubbles, as the water does, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air, and what seemed corporal melted as breath into the wind. Would they had stayed.
Were such things even here as we do speak of? Or have we eaten upon the insane root that takes the reason prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
Oh, and you shall be king.
And Thane of Cawdor too, went it not so?
To the self-same tune in words. Who goes there?
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. And when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend which should be thine or his. I am sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, and for an earnest of a greater honor, bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor.
Oh.
In which addition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine.
What, can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
Who was the Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears that name which he deserves to lose. For treason's capital confessed and proved have overthrown him.
Glamis and Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. Thanks for your pains. Do you not hope your children shall be kings, when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promised no less to them?
That trusted home might yet enkindle you to the crown besides, Thane of Cawdor. But 'tis strange. Oftentimes, to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truth. To win us with honest trifles, and to betray us at deepest consequence. Cousin, a word, I pray you.
2 truths are told, as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. I thank you, gentlemen. This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why have they given me earnest of success commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth unfix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, shakes so my single state of man that function is smothered in surmise, and nothing is but what is not.
Look how our partner's wrapped.
If chance will have me king, why chance will crown me without my stir.
New honors come upon him. Like our strange garments, cleave not to their mold, but with the aid of use.
Come what come may, time and the hour run through the roughest day.
Worthy Macbeth, we stand upon thy leisure.
Give me your favor. My dull brain was wrought with things forgotten. Let us toward the king. Think about what hath chanced, and at more time, the interim having waited, let us speak our free hearts each to other.
Very gladly.
Till then, enough. Come, friends.
Is execution done on Cawdor? Are not yet those in commission returned?
My liege, they are not yet come back, but I have spoke with one that saw him die, who did report that very frankly he confessed his treasons, implored your highness pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like the leaving it.
There's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. Oh, worthiest cousins. Oh, the sins of my ingratitude even now are heavy on me. Thou would have less deserve, if that the proportion both of thanks and payment may have been mine.
The service.
Only I have left to say, more is thy due than more than all could pay.
The service and the loyalty I owe in doing it pays itself. Your Highness's part is to receive our duties, and our duties are to your throne and state.
Welcome hither. I have begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, who has no less deserved, nor let me know, no less to have done so. Let me enfold thee and hold thee to my heart.
There if I grow, the harvest is your own.
My plenteous joys, wanting in fullness, sons, kinsmen, thanes, and those of you who places are the nearest know, that we will establish our estate on our eldest, Malcolm, who we shall name hereafter the Prince of Cumberland, whose honor shall not unaccompanied invest him only, but signs of nobleness like stars shall shine on all deservers. That's the Inverness.
The rest is labor, which is not used for you. I'll be myself the harbinger and make joyful the hearing of my wife with your approach. So humbly take my leave.
My noble Cawdor,
the Prince of Cumberland. That is a step on which I must fall down, or else or leap. For in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. The eye wink at the hand, yet let that be which the eye fears when it is done to see.
True worthy painful. He is full so valiant. In his accommodations, I am fed. It is a banquet to me. Let's after him, who here has gone before us to bid us welcome. It is a peerless kinsman.
They have met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air, into which they vanished. Whilst I stood, wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird sisters saluted me, and referred me to the coming on of time with, "Hail, king that shalt be." This have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightst not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay it to thy heart, and farewell. Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, yet without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, that wouldst thou holily, wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal. What is your tidings?
The king comes here tonight.
Thou art mad to say it! Is not thy master with him, who, were it so, would have informed for preparation?
So please you, it is true. Our Thane is coming. A messenger who, almost dead for breath, had scarcely more than would make up his message.
Give him tending. He brings great news. The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, come to my woman's breasts and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief. Come, thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold! great Glons, worthy Cawdor, greater than both by the all-hail hereafter. Thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant.
My dearest love. Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time. Bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch.
We will talk further.
Only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me.
This castle has a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly recommends itself to our gentle senses.
This guest of summer, this temple-haunting martlet, does approve.
Where they most breed and haunt, I have observed, the air is delicate.
Oh, see our honored hostess. The love that follows us sometimes is our trouble, yet we still thank thee as love.
All our service, in every point, twice done and then done double, were poor and single business against those honors, deep and broad, wherewith your majesty loads our house. For those of old and the late dignities heaped up to them, we rest your hermits.
Where's the Thane of Cawdor? We cursed him at the hills and had a purpose to be his purveyor, but he rides well, and his great love, as sharp as his spurs, has homed him to his house before us. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guests tonight.
Your servants ever have theirs themselves, and what is theirs in count? To make their audit at your highness's pleasure, still to return your own.
Give me your hand, and conduct me to my host. We love him highly, and shall continue to grace him with our spirits. By your leave, mistress.
If it were done, when 'tis done, then 'twere were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease, success, that but this blow might be the be-all and the end-all here. But here upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come. But in these cases, we still have judgment here, that we would teach bloody instruction, which, being taught, return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poison chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First, as I am his kinsman, and his subject, strong both against the deed, then as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. How now, what news?
He is almost supped. Why have you left the chamber?
Hath he asked for me?
Know you not he has?
We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which would be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Has it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time, such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act, and valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteem'st the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage?
Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares no more is none.
What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it then, you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, whilst it was smiling at my breast, have plucked the nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out, had I so sworn as you have done to this.
If we should fail...
We fail. But screw your courage to the sticking place, and will not fail. When Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him, his two chamberlains will I, with wine and wassail, so convince that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lie as in a death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of our great quell?
Bring forth men, children only. For thy undaunted metal shall compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chambers, and use their very daggers that they've done?
Who dares receive it else, as we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death?
I am settled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat. Away, and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide what a false heart doth know.
How goes the night, boy?
The moon is down. I have not heard the clock.
Oh, yes, she goes down at 12.
I take 'tis later, sir.
Here, take my axe. There's husbandry in heaven. Their stars are all out. A heavy summons lies on me like lead, yet I sleep not. Merciful powers, restrain in me these cursed thoughts that nature gives way to in repose. Give me my axe. Who's there?
A friend!
What? Not yet at rest, sir. The king's abed. He hath been an unusual pleasure, and has sent forth a great largesse to your offices. This diamond he greets your wife withal by name of most kind hostess.
Being unprepared, our will became the servant to defect, which else should free have wrought.
All's well. Last night, I dreamt of the weird sisters. To you, they have showed some truth.
I think not of them. Yet, when you can entreat an hour to serve, we should spend it in some time upon that business, if you would grant the time.
At thy kind's leisure.
If you shall cleave to my consent, when 'tis, it shall make honor for you.
So I lose none in seeking to augment it, but still, keep my bosom franchised and my allegiances clear. I will be counseled.
Good repose the while.
Thanks. The like to you, sir.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from this heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshals me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now, o'er the one-half world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Thou sure and firm-set earth, hear not my steps which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabout, and take the present horror from the time which thou suits with it. Whiles I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
That which hath made them drunk hath made me bold. What hath quenched them hath given me fire. Hark! Peace. It was the owl that shrieked, the fatal bellman which gives the sternst good night. He is about it. The doors are open, and the surfeited grooms do mock their charge with snores. I have drugged their possets, that death and nature do contend about them, whether they live or die.
Who's there? What ho?
Alack, I am afeard they have awaked, and 'tis not done. The attempt and not the deed confounds us. Hark! I laid their daggers ready. He could not miss 'em. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done it. My husband?
I have done the deed. Didst thou hear a noise?
I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry. Did not you speak?
When? Now. As I descended. This is a sorry sight.
A foolish thought to say, a sorry sight.
As one did laugh and sleep, and one cried, murder, that did wake each other. I stood and heard them, but they did say their prayers and addressed them again to sleep. One cried, God bless us, and amen the other. Listening their fear, I could not say amen when they did say God bless us.
Consider it not so deeply.
But wherefore could not I pronounce amen? I had most need of blessing, and amen stuck in my throat.
These deeds must not be thought after these ways, so it will make us mad.
I thought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth does murder sleep. The innocent sleep, the sleep that knits up the raveled sleeve of care, the death of each day's life. Poor labor's bath, balm of hurt mind, great nature's second course, chief nourisher in life's feast.
What do you mean?
Still it cried, sleep no more. Glamis hath murdered sleep, and therefore Macbeth shall sleep no more. Cawdor shall sleep no more.
Who was it that thus cried? Why, worthy Thane, you do unbend your noble strength to think so brain-sickly of things. Go, get some water and wash this filthy witness from your hands. Why did you bring these daggers from the place? They must lie there. Go, carry them and smear the sleepy grooms with blood.
I'll go no more. I'm afraid to think what I have done. Think on't again, I dare not.
Infirm of purpose. Give me the daggers. The sleeping and the dead are but as pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood that fears a painted devil. If ye do plead, I'll gild the faces of the grooms withal, for it must seem their guilt.
Whence is this knocking? How is't with me when every noise appalls me? What hands are here? They pluck out mine eyes. Will all great Neptune's oceans wash this blood clean from my hands? No, this my hand will rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red.
My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear a heart so white. I hear a knocking at the south entry. Retire we to our chamber. A little water clears us of the steed. How easy is it then? Hark! More knocking. Get on your nightgown. Be not lost so poorly in your thoughts.
To know my deed would best not know myself. Wake, Duncan, with thy knocking. I would thou couldst.
Here is a knocking indeed. If a man be porter of Hellgate, he would have old turning the key. Oh, knock, knock, knock. Who are you? In the name of Beelzebub? Here is a farmer that hanged himself on the expectation of plenty. Come in time. Oh, knock, knock, knock. Who are you in the other devil's name? Here is an equivocator who could swear in both the scales against either scale, who could commit treason for God's sake, yet could not equivocate to heaven. Oh, come in, equivocator. Oh, knock, knock, knock. What are you? This place is too cold for hell. I will not devil porter it any further. I had thought to have let in many of all professions who go the primrose way to the everlasting bonfire. Oh, anon, remember the porter.
Oh, was it so late, friend, ere you went to bed that you do lie so late?
Faith, sir, we were carousing till second cock. And drink, sir, is a great provoker of three things.
Oh, what three things does drink especially provoke?
Nose plankton, sleep, and urine. Lechery, sir, it does provoke, and unprovoked. It provokes the desire, but takes away the performance. Therefore, much drink may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. It makes him and mars him. It sets him on and takes him off. It persuades him and dishearts him. It makes him stand to and not stand to. Oh. Therefore, it may be said that it is an equivocator with sleep, and giving him the lie, leaves him.
I believe drink gave thee the lie last night.
Oh, that it did, sir. I had a throat on me, but I required him for his lie, and I think being too strong for him, though he did take my legs up at some time, yet I made a shift to cast him.
Is thy master stirring? Our knocking has awaked him. Here he comes. Good morrow, noble sir.
Good morrow.
Is the king stirring, worthy thane?
Not yet.
He did command me to call timely on him. I had almost slipped the hour.
I'll bring you to him.
I know it is a joyful trouble to you, but yet 'tis one.
The labor we delight in physics, pain. This is the door.
I'll make so bold to call, for 'tis my limited service. Goes hence the king today.
He does. He did appoint so.
The night was unruly where I lay. Lamentings heard in the air, strange screams of death, and prophesying with accents terrible of dire combustion and confused events, new hatched to the woeful time. The obscure bird clamored the livelong night. Some say the earth was feverish and did shake.
'Twas a rough night.
My young remembrance cannot parallel a fellow to it. Oh, horror, horror, horror! Tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee.
What's the matter?
Confusion now hath made his masterpiece. Most sacrilegious murder hath broke ope the Lord's anointed temple and stolen thence the life of the building.
What did you say, the life?
Mean you his majesty? Approach the chamber and destroy your sight. Awake! Awake! Ring the alarm bell! Murder and treason! Shake off this downy sleep, death's counterfeit, and look on death itself! Up, up and see the great doom's image! Ring the bell! What's the business that such a hideous trumpet calls to parley the sleepers of the house? Speak, speak! Oh, gentle lady, 'tis not for you to hear what I have to speak. The repetition of which on a hostess' ear would murder as it fell. Oh, Banquo! Banquo! A royal master's murdered. Oh! Alas! What in our house?
Too cruel anywhere. Dear doth contradict thyself. Say it's not so.
Had I but died an hour before this chance, I had lived a blessed time. For from this instant, there is nothing serious in mortality.
What is amiss?
You are, and do not know it. The spring, the head, the fountain of your blood is stopped. The very source of it is stopped.
Your royal father is murdered.
Oh, by whom?
Those of his chambers, as it seemed, had done it. Their hands and faces were all badged with blood. So are their daggers, which unwiped we found upon their pillows. Their eyes stared and were distracted. No man's life was to be trusted with them.
Oh, yet I do repent me of my fury that I did kill them.
Wherefore did you so?
Who can be wise, amazed, temperate and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment? No man. The expedition of my violent love outran the pauser, reason. Here lay Duncan, his noble skin laced with his golden blood. There, the murderers steeped in the colors of their trade, their daggers unmannerly breached with gore. Who could refrain that had a heart to love, and in that heart, courage to make his love known?
Oh, help me, Hicks! Oh! Look to the lady.
Why do I hold my tongue? That most may claim this argument for mine?
Look to the lady. And when our naked frailties are hid, those that suffer an exposure, we meet here and question this bloody piece of work to know it better. And thence, to the undivulged pretense, I fight of treasonous malice.
So do I.
So all!
let us briefly meet in the hall together and pull on manly readiness.
Well contented.
Well contented.
What will I do? I will not consort with them to show an unfelt sorrow in an office which the false man does easy. Out to England, there's daggers in men's smiles, the near in blood, the near blooded. But shift away, there's warrant in that theft which steals itself, when there's no mercy left.
Within the volume of my life, I have seen hours dreadful and things strange, but this sore night hath trifled former knowings.
Good cousin, thou seest the heavens as troubled with man's act threaten his bloody stage. By clock 'tis day, and yet dark night strangles the traveling lamp. Is night's predominance or the day's shame that darkness does the face of earth entomb when living light should kiss it?
Unnatural, even like the deed that's done. On Tuesday last, a falcon, towering in her pride of place, was by a mousing owl hawked at and killed.
And Duncan's horses, a thing most strange and certain, beauteous and swift, the minions of their race, turned wild in nature, broke their stalls, flung out, contending against nature as if to make war with mankind.
'Tis said they ate each other.
They did so, much to the amazement of mine eyes that did behold it. Oh, but here comes the good Macbeth. How goes the world now?
Why, see you not?
Is known who did this more than bloody deed?
Those that Macbeth hath slain.
Alas the day, what good could they pretend?
They were bribed. Malcolm, the king's own son, hath stolen away and fled, which puts upon him suspicion of the deed.
Against nature still, thrift lives ambition. Then 'tis most like the sovereignty will fall upon Macbeth.
He is already named and gone to Scone to be invested.
Will you gone?
No, cousin. I'll to Fife.
Then I will thither.
Well, may you see things well done there. Adieu, lest our old robes sit easier than our new.
Farewell, cousin.
God's benison go with you, and with those that would make good of bad, and friends of foes.
Thou hast it now. King, Cawdor, Glamis, all as the weird women promised, and I fear thou played most foully for it. And yet it was said it should not stand on thy posterity, that I myself should be root and father to many kings. If truth come upon me, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine. Why, by the verities on thee made good, might they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope? But hush, no more.
Here is our chief guest.
If he had been forgotten, it had been as a gap in our great feast, and all thing unbecoming.
Tonight, we hold solemn supper, sir, and I'll request your presence.
Let your highness command upon me, to the which my duties are with an indissoluble tie, forever knit.
Ride you this afternoon.
Aye, my good lord.
We should have else desired your good counsel in this day's meeting. Is't far you ride?
As far, my lord, as will fill the time twixt now and supper.
Fail not our feast.
My good lord, I will not.
We hear a bloody cousin is bestowed in England, not confessing his cruel patricide, filling his hearers with strange inventions. But of that tomorrow. Hie you to horse. Adieu, till you return at night. Goes Fleance with you?
Yes, my good lord. Our time does call upon us.
I wish your horses swift and sure of foot. Farewell. Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night. To make society the sweeter welcome, we will keep ourselves till supper time alone. While then, God be with you. Sarah, a word with you. Attend those two.
They are, my lord, without the palace gate.
Bring them before us. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fear in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. There is none but he whose being I do fear. He chid the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me, and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown and put a barren scepter in my grip, no son of mine succeeding. If it be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, and given my internal jewel to the common enemy of man, to make them kings, the seed of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come fate into the list, and champion me to the utterance. Who's there? Now go to the door and stay there till we call. Was it not yesterday we spoke together?
It was, so please your highness.
Now then, have you considered of my speeches? Know that it was he in the times past which held you so under fortune, which you thought had been our innocent self. This I made good to you in our last conference, passed in probation with you. How you were crossed. Might say, thus did Banquo.
You made it known to us, my lord.
I did so, and went further, which is now our point of second meeting. Do you find your patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go? Are you so gospeled to pray for this good man and for his issue, whose heavy hand hath bowed you to the grave and beggared yours forever?
I'm a man, my liege.
In the catalog you go for man. As hounds and greyhounds, mongrels, spaniels, curs are cleft all by the name of dogs. The valued file distinguishes the swift, the slow, the subtle, the housekeeper, the hunter, from the list that writes them all alike. And so of men. Now, if you have a station in the file not in the worst rank of manhood, say it.
I am one, my liege, for whom the vile blows and buffets of this world have so incensed. I am reckless what I do to spite the world.
And I another, so weary with disasters, tugged with fortune, that I would set upon my life any chance to mend it or be rid on it.
Both of you know Banquo was your enemy.
True, my lord.
So is he mine. And though I can, with barefaced power, sweep him from my sight, yet I must not. And thence it is that I to your assistance do make love, masking the business from the common eye for sundry weighty reasons.
We shall, my lord. Perform what you command us.
Though our lives...
Your spirit shine through you. I will advise you where to plant yourselves, for it must be done tonight. And Fleance, his son that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart.
We are resolved, my lord.
I'll call upon you straight. It is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight.
from court?
Aye, madam, but returns again tonight.
Say to the king I would attend his leisure for a few words.
Madam, I will.
Naught's had. All's spent where our desire is got without content. 'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. How now? My lord? Why do you keep alone? Of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts which should indeed have died with them they think on. Things without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done.
We have scourged the snake, not killed it. She'll close and be herself whilst our poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things disjoint. Both the worlds suffer ere we will eat our meal in fear and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Duncan is in his grave. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst, nor steel, nor poison, malice domestic, foreign levy, nothing can touch him further.
Come on. Gentle, my lord. Sleek o'er your rugged looks. Be bright and jovial among your guests tonight.
So shall I, love. And so I pray be you. Let your remembrance apply to Banquo. Present him eminence both with eye and tongue. Unsafe the while that we must lave our honors in these flattering streams and make our faces visards to our hearts, disguising what they are.
You must believe this.
Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. Thou knowst that Banquo and his fiancé lives.
But in them nature's copy is not a turn.
There's comfort yet. They are assailable. Then be thou jocund. There shall be done a deed of dreadful note.
What's to be done?
Be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Jock, till thou applaud the deed. Come, sealing night. Scarf up the tender eye of pitiful day. Good things of day begin to droop and drowse, while night's black agents to their praise do rouse. Thou marvelst at my words, but hold thee still. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. So prithee, go with me.
Would it bid thee join with us?
Macbeth.
Meet not our mistrust, for he delivers our offices and what we have to do to the direction just.
Then stand with us. Near approach is the subject of our watch.
Give us light there. Oh.
'Tis he. Let's stand to it.
It will be rain tonight.
Let it come down.
Oh, treachery! Fly, Leons! Fly! Mayst thou revenge!
Oh, stop!
There's but one down. The sun is fled.
We have lost the better half of our affair.
Well, let's away and say much is done.
You know your own degrees. Sit down, at first and last. The hearty welcome.
Thanks to your majesty.
Ourself will mingle with society and play the humble host. Our hostess keeps her state, but in best time, we will require her welcome.
Pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends, for my heart speaks they are welcome.
See, they encounter thee with their heart's thanks. Both sides are even. Here I'll sit in the midst. Anon will drink a measure the table round, be large in mirth. Is blood on thy face.
Oh, 'tis Banquo's then.
'Tis better thee without than he within. Is he dispatched?
My lord, his throat is cut. That I did for him.
Thou art the best of the cutthroats. Yet he is good that did the like for Fleance. If thou didst it, thou art the non-Perel.
Most royal sir, Fleance Gate.
I had else been perfect. Now I am cabin, cribbed, confined, bound in by saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo's safe.
Aye, safe in a ditch he bides.
Thanks for that. Get thee gone.
My royal lord, you do not give the cheer. The sauce to meat is ceremony. Meeting were bare without it.
Sweet remembrancer. Good digestion and health wait on appetite, and health to all.
May it please your highness sit.
Here had we now our country's honor roofed, with a grace person of our Banquo present, who may I rather challenge for unkindness than pity for mischance.
His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. But please it your highness to grace us with your royal company.
The table's full.
Here is a place reserved, sir.
Where?
Here, my good lord. What's it that moves your highness?
Which of you have done this?
What?
What?
My lord?
Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me.
Sit, worthy friends, my lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. Pray you, keep seat. The fit is momentary. Upon a thought he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him, and extend his passion. Feed, and regard him not. Are you a man?
Aye, and a bold one that dare look on that. That might appall the devil.
Oh, proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws and starts, impostors to true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire. Shame itself! Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool.
Behold, look, see, prithee, see there. How say you? What care I? If thou canst nod, speak too. If charnel houses and our graves must send those that we bury back, our monuments shall be the maws of kites.
What? Quite unmanned in folly.
I saw him.
Fie, for shame.
Blood hath been shed ere now. In the olden times, aye, and since too, murders have been performed too terrible for the ear. The time had been that when the brains were out, the man would die and there and then. But now they push us from our stool with 20 mortal murders on their crown. They rise and push us from our stool. This is more strange than such a murder is.
My royal lord, your worthy friends do lack you.
I do forget. Do not muse at me, most worthy friends. I have a strange infirmity, which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all, then I'll sit down. Come, give me some wine. Fill, full. I drink to the general joy of the whole table, and to our dear friend, Banquo, whom we miss. Would he were here. To all in him we thirst.
And the pledge.
And all, to all. Avaunt! Quit my sight! Let the earth hide thee. Thy bones are marrowless and thy blood is cold. Thou hast no speculation in those eyes which thou dost glare with.
Think of this, good friends, but as a thing of custom. 'Tis no other. Only it spoils the pleasure of the time.
What man dare, I dare, take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble or be alive again and dare me to the desert with thy sword. If trembling I inhabit, then protest me the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow, unreal mockery, hence! Why, so being gone, I am a man again. Stand still, prithee.
You have displaced the mirth.
Can such things be, and overcome us like a summer's cloud without our special wonder? You make me strange, even to the disposition that I owe when I know you can see such sights and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks.
What sights, my lord?
Speak not! He grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once!
Good night, and attend better health to his majesty.
A kind good night to all.
It will have blood, they say. Blood will have blood. Stones have been known to move and trees to speak. What is the night?
Almost at odds with morning, which is which.
How say you that Macbeth denies her person at our great bidding?
Did you send to her, sir?
I will tomorrow to the Weird Sisters. More shall they speak. I am in blood stepped in so far that should I wait no more, returning were as tedious as go o'er. Strange things I have in head that will to hand, which must be acted on ere they may be scanned.
You lack the season of all natures. Sleep.
Come, will to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear which wants hard use. We are yet but young indeed.
So I bought a brand new loom. By the end of the season, it looked like that famous photograph of the sheet of twisted metal at 9/11. That's what the tennis rack, for my tennis rack.
My former speeches can, well, hit your thoughts, which can interpret further, only I say. Things have been strangely born. The gracious Duncan was pitied of Beth, Mary he was dead. The right valiant bank will walk too late, for whom once killed, for Fleance fled. Men must not walk too late. Who cannot want the thought how monstrous it was for Malcolm to kill his gracious father? Damned fact, how it did grieve Macbeth. Did he not stray in pious rage the two delinquents tear that were the slaves of drink and thralls of sleep? Was that not nobly done? Aye, and wisely too. So did I say he has borne all things well? And I do think he has Duncan's son under his key, as it please heaven he shall not, for he would find what were to kill a father. But peace for from Broadworth, and cause she felt her presence at the tyrant's feast, I hear. Macduff lives in disgrace, sir. Can you tell us where she bestows herself?
The son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court and is received with grace. Thither Macduff has gone for aid, to wake Northumberland and warlike Seward, that with the help of these we may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights. All this report hath so exasperate Macbeth that he prepares for some extent of war.
Sent he to Macduff?
He did.
And that might well advise her to a caution to hold what distance her wisdom can provide. Should some holy angel fly to the courts of England, so that a swift blessing may soon return to this our suffering country under her hand accursed.
I'll send my prayers.
winded cat hath mewed.
Thrice and once the hedge pig whined.
The harpier cries, 'tis time, 'tis time.
Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw, sweltered venom, sleeping got, boil thou first to the charmed pot. Double, double, toil and trouble,
toil and
burn and cauldron
burn
bubble,
and
fire and burn and cauldron bubble.
Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, with a charm of most powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Finger of a first strangled dab, this delivered by a drab, makes the gruel thick and slab. Add thereto in a tiger's chaldron to the ingredients of our cauldron. Double, double, toil and trouble,
toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron burn and cauldron bubble.
Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good.
By the prickling of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes.
How now, you secret, black and midnight hags, what is't you do?
A deed without a name.
I conjure you by that which you profess. Howe'er you come to know it, tell me. Even to destruction sicken, answer me to what I ask you.
Speak.
Demand.
We will answer.
Say, if thou'dst rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters.
Call him. Let me see him.
Sweat from murderer's gibbet throw into the flame.
Come high or low, thyself and office deftly show.
Tell me, thou unknown power.
She knows thou thought. Hear her speech, but say thou not.
Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth. Beware, Macduff. Beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me, enough.
Whatever thou art for thy good caution, thanks. Thou hast harped my fear aright. But one word more.
She will not be commanded. Here's another, more potent than the first.
Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth.
Had I 3 ears, I'd hear thee.
Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth.
Then live, Macduff. What need I fear of thee? Yet I'll make assurance double sure and take a bond of fate. Thou shalt not live. What is this that rises like the issue of a king?
Listen, but speak not to it.
Be lion-mettled proud and take no care, who shaves, who frets, or where conspirers are. Macbeth shall never vanquish thee, till great Burnham Wood to high Dunsinane Hill shall come against him.
That shall never be. Who can impress the forest, bid the tree unfix its earthbound root? Sweet bodements, good! Rebellious head rise never till the wood of Burnham rise, and our high place Macbeth shall live the lease of nature, pay his breath to time and mortal custom. Yet, my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me if your art can tell so much. Shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom?
Seek to know no more.
Deny me this, and an eternal curse fall on you. Let me know.
Show.
Show his eyes and grieve his heart.
Come like shadows, so depart.
Thou art too much like the spirit of Banquo. Down, thy crown does sear mine eyeballs, and thy hair, thou other gold-bound brow, is like the first. The third is like the former. Filthy hags, why do you show me this? I'll look no more. What will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? A seventh, and yet another. And yet the eighth appears, who bears a glass which shows me many more. And some I see that two-fold balls and treble scepters carry. Now I see 'tis true. For the blood-baltered Banquo smiles upon me and points at them for his. What can this be?
Aye, sir, all this is so. But why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Come, sisters, cheer up his sprites, and show the best of our delights. I'll charm the air to give a sound, while you perform the Sansic round, that this great king may kindly say, our duties did his welcome pay.
Where are they? Dawn. Come in without there.
What's your grace's will?
Saw you the weird sisters?
No, my lord.
Came they not by you?
No, indeed, my lord.
Infected be the air whereon they ride, and damned all those that trust them. I did hear the galloping of horses. Who was't came by?
'Tis but two that bring word, my good lord. Macduff is fled to England.
Fled to England.
Aye, my good lord.
Time, thou anticipates my dread exploits. The flighty purpose never is o'ertook unless the deed go with it. From this moment, the firstlings of my heart shall be the firstlings of my hand. The castle of Macduff I will surprise, seize upon Fife, take to the edge of the sword her wife, her babes. No more boasting like a fool. This deed I'll do before this purpose cool.
What had she done to make her fly the land?
You must have patience, madam.
She had none. Her flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors.
You know not whether it was her wisdom or her fear.
Wisdom. To leave her wife, to leave her babes, her mansion, and her titles in a place from whence herself does fly. She loves us not. She lacks the natural touch. For the poor wren, the most diminutive of birds, will fight her young ones in her nest against the owl. All is the fear and nothing is the love. As little is the wisdom where the flight so runs against all reason.
My dearest cousin, I pray you school yourself, but for your wife, she is noble, kind, judicious, and best knows the fits of the season. I dare not speak much further. But cruel are the times when we are traitors and do not know ourselves. I take my leave of you. Shall not be long, but I'll be here again, my pretty cousin. Blessing on you.
Sirrah, your Thane is dead. And what will you do now? How will you live?
As birds do, Mother.
What? Birds? What? With worms and flies?
With what I get, I meet, and so do they.
Oh, poor bird. Thou wouldst never fear the net.
Why should I, Mother? Poor birds they are not set for. My mother is not dead for all you're saying.
Yes, she is dead.
How wilt thou do for a parent?
How wilt thou do for a spouse?
Why, I can buy me 20 at any market.
So you'll buy 'em to sell again?
Thou speakest with all thy wit, and yet I faith with wit enough for thee.
Was my ma a traitor, Mother?
Aye, she was.
What is a traitor?
Why, one that swears and lies.
And be all traitors that do so?
One that does so is a traitor and must be hanged.
And must they all be hanged that swear and lie?
Everyone.
Who must hang them?
Why, the honest folk.
Then the swearers and liars are fools, for there are swearers and liars enough to beat the honest men and hang up them.
Poor prattler. How thou talk'st.
Bless you, fair dame. For I am not to you known, though in your state I am perfect. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. If you will, take a homely one's advice. Be not found here with your little ones. To fright you thus, methinks I am too savage. To do worse to you, which will fail cruelty, which is too nigh your person. I dare abide no longer. Heaven preserve you.
Whither should I fly? I have done no harm. But I remember now. I am on this earthly world where to do harm is often laudable. To do good sometime accounted dangerous folly. Why, then, alas, do I put up that womanly defense to say I have done no harm? What are these faces?
Where is your wife now?
I hope in no place so unsanctified where such as thou mayst find her.
She's a traitor.
Thou liest, thou shaggy-haired villain!
What, you egg? Young cry of treachery.
Mother! Oh. Oh, run away! I pray you! Oh.
Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosoms empty.
Let us rather hold fast the mortal sword, and like good men bestride our downfall and birthdom. Each new morn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face that it resounds, as if it felt with Scotland and yelled out like syllable of dolor.
But I believe I will. This tyrant whose sole name blisters our tongue was once thought honest. You have loved him well, and you may discern of him through me in wisdom to offer up a weak, poor, innocent lamb to appease an angry God.
I am not treacherous.
What Macbeth is, I shall crave your pardon. That which you are, my thoughts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still, though the brightest fell through all things. Foul would wear the brows of grace, yet grace must still look so.
I have lost my hopes.
Perchance even there, where I did find my doubts, why in that rawness left you wife and children, those precious motives, those strong knots of love without leave taking? I pray you, let not my suspicions be your dishonors, but mine own safeties. You may be rightly just, whatever I shall think.
Fare you well, Lord. I would not be the villain that thou thinkst, for the whole space is in the tyrant's grasp.
Be not offended. I speak not in absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day a gash is added to her wounds. I think withal there'll be hands uplifted in my rights, and here from gracious England have I offered a goodly 1,000. But for all this, when I shall tread upon the tyrant's head, my country will have more vice than it had before, more suffer, more sundry ways than ever, by him that shall succeed.
What should he be?
It is myself, I mean, in whom I know all the particulars of vice so grafted that when it shall be opened, vile Macbeth will be as pure as snow.
Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned in evils to top Macbeth.
I grant him bloody, sudden, malicious smacking of every sin that has a name. But there is no bottom, none in my voluptuousness. Your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids cannot fill up this cistern of my lust. Better Macbeth than such a one to reign.
Boundless intemperance in nature is a tyranny, and it hath been the fall of many kings. But fear not yet to take upon you what is yours. You may convey your pleasures in a spacious plenty, and yet seem cold. The time you may so hoodwink. We have willing dames enough.
But this there grows in my most ill-confessed affection, such a staunchless avarice that, if I were king, I would cut off the nobles for their lands, desire his jewels in this other house, and my more having will be as a sauce to make me hunger more.
This avarice sticks deeper and grows with more pernicious root than summer seeming lust. And it hath been the sword of our slain king. But do not fear. Scotland hath foisons to fill up your will. All these are portable, with other graces weighed.
But I have none. A king becoming graced as justice, temperance, stableness, devotion, patience, courage, and fortitude. I have no relish of them. Nay, had I power, I will pour the sweet milk of Concord into hell, uproar the universal peace, confound all unities on earth.
Oh, Scotland, Scotland.
If such a be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken.
Fit to govern? No, not to live. Oh, nation miserable, with an untitled tyrant, bloody sceptered, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again, since that, the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accursed? Your royal father was a most sainted king, the queen who bore thee oftener in prayer than on her feet. Fare thee well. These evils thou repeatest upon thyself have banished me from Scotland. On my breast, thy hope ends here.
Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath reconciled my thoughts to my good truths and honors. Devilish Macbeth has sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from over-trustful haste. By God above, I here abjure. The taints and blames I light upon myself, the strangers to thy nature. I am yet unknown to women, was never forsworn, scarcely have I coveted what was mine own. My first false speaking was this upon myself, and what I truly am is thine. in my poor country to command. Old Seaward, with 10,000 warlike men, already at a point was setting forth. Now will together, why are you silent?
Such welcome and unwelcome things at once, it is hard to reconcile.
Well, more not.
We'll see who comes here. My ever-gentle cousin. Welcome hither. Stand Scotland where it did.
Alas, poor country. Almost afraid to know itself. It cannot be called our mother, but our grave where sighs and groans and shrieks that rend the air, a maid not marked, where violent sorrow seems a modern ecstasy. The dead men's knell is there scarce asked for who, and good men's lives expire before the flowers in their caps, dying or ere they sicken.
A relation too nice, and yet too true.
What's the newest grief?
That of an hour's age, does hiss the speaker. Each minute seems a new one.
How does my wife?
Why, well.
And my children?
Well, too.
The tyrant has not battered at their peace.
No, they were well at peace when I did leave them.
Be not a hoarder of your speech, how ghost?
When I came hither to transport the tidings, which I have heavily borne, there ran a rumor of many worthy fellows that were out, which was to my belief, witnessed the rather, for I saw the tyrant's power afoot. Now is the time of help. Your sight in Scotland would create soldiers, make our ladies fight to doff their dire distresses.
Be comforted. Gracious England have lent us good seedward and 10,000 men.
Would that I could answer with the like, but I have words that would be howled out in the desert air where hearing could not latch them.
What concern they?
No mind that's honest, but in it shares some woe, though the main part pertains to you alone.
If it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly let me have it.
Let your ears not despise my tongue, which shall possess them with the heaviest sound that ever yet they heard.
I guess had it.
Your castle is surprised. Your wife and babes savagely slaughtered. To relate the manner we're on the quarry of these murdered deer, to add the death of you.
Merciful heavens.
My children too?
Wife, children, servants, all that could be found.
And I must be from thence. My wife killed too.
I have said.
Be comforted. Let us make medicines of this great revenge to cure this deadly grief.
He has no children! What? All my pretty ones. Did you say all? Oh, how kind! All my pretty chickens and their dam at one fell swoop.
Dispute it like a man.
I shall do so. I must also feel as a man. Who did heaven look on and would not take their part? Sinful Macduff. They were all struck for thee. Not that I am, not for their own demerits, but for mine fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them now.
Let grief convert to anger. Blunt not the heart, enrage it.
Oh, I could play the woman with my eyes and the braggart with my tongue. But gentle heavens, cut short all intermissions, front to front, bring thou this fiend of Scotland and myself within my blade's length. Set him, if he scape heaven, forgive him too.
This tune goes manly. Our power is ready. Macbeth is ripe for shaking. Receive what cheers you may. The night is long that never finds the day.
I have 2 days. Watch with you, and can perceive no truth in your report. When was it that you last see her walk?
Since His Majesty went into the field, I have seen her rise from her bed, throw her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet, take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, and afterwards seal it, and again return to bed. Yet all this while in a most fast sleep.
A great perturbation of nature. To receive at once the benefit of sleep and to do the effect of watching. In this slumbery agitation, what at any time have you heard her say?
That, sir, of which I will not report after her.
You made to me, it is most meet you do.
Neither to you nor to anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech. Lo, you, here she comes. This is her very guise, and upon my life, fast asleep. Observe her, stand close.
Her eyes are open.
Aye, but their sense is shut.
What is it that she does now? Look up. Look how she rubs her hands.
It is an accustomed action with her to seem thus washing her hands. I have known her continuing this a quarter of an hour.
Yet here's the spot.
She speaks. I should put down what comes from her in order to satisfy my remembrance the more strongly.
Out, damn spot out, I say. 1, 2. Why then 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord. Fie, a soldier and a feared. What need we fear who knows it when none may call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him?
Dost thou mark that?
The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What? Oh, these hands ne'er be clean. No more of that, my lord, no more of that. You more all with this starting.
Oh, go to. You have known what you should not.
Oh, she has spoke, which she should not.
Heaven knows what she has known.
Here's the smell of blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh! Oh! Oh!
What a sigh is that? The heart is sorely charged. Oh, this disease is far beyond my practice. And yet, I have seen those who have walked in their sleep and have died holily in their beds.
Wash your hands. Put on your nightgown. Look not so pale. I tell you, yet again, Banquo's buried. He cannot come out on his grave.
Even so.
To bed. To bed, I hear a knocking at the gate. Come. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed.
Will she now go to bed?
Directly.
Oh, unnatural deeds do breed unnatural trouble. More she needs the divine than the physician. Oh, God forgive us all. And so good night. She has amazed my sight. I think, but I dare not speak.
Good night, good doctor.
Who goes there?
Hold!
The English power is here, led on by Malcolm, my father Seward, and the good Macduff. Revenges burn within them for their dear causes.
Near Burnham Wood we shall assemble.
What does the tyrant?
Dunsinane he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad. Others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury, but for certain he cannot hide his disintempered cause within the belt of rule.
Now does he feel his secret murders sticking on his hands?
Now manily revolts upbraid his faith breach. Those he command move only in command, nothing in love. Now does he feel his title hang loosely about him?
Who then shall blame his pestered senses to start and recoil when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there?
Well, march we on to give obedience where 'tis truly owed. Meet we the medicine of this sickly wheel, and with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us.
Also, much as it needs to sow the sovereign flower or drown the weeds. Make we our march toward Burnham.
Bring me no more reports. Let them fly all. To Burnham Wood removed to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirits that pronounce all mortal customs have said to me thus, fear not, Macbeth. No man that's born of woman shall e'er have power upon thee. Then fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The heart I bear shall never sag with doubt, nor shake with fear. The devil damn thee down, thou cream-faced loon. Where gotst thou that goose look?
There is 10,000.
Geese, villain?
Soldiers, sir.
Go prick thy face and overread thy fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers, Patch? Death of thy soul! Those linen cheeks of thine are counselors to fear. What soldiers, Wayface?
The English force, so please you.
Take thy face hence. Seaton! I'm sick when I behold. Seaton, I say! This push will cheer me ever or deceive me now. I have lived long enough, and that which should accompany old age is honor, love, obedience, troops of friends I must not look to have. But in their stead, curses, not loud but deep, mouth honor, breath, which the poor heart would fain deny but dare not. Seaton!
It is my gracious pleasure.
What news more?
All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported.
I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me my armor. I'll put it on! Send out more horses. Stir the country round. Hang those that talk of fear. Bring me mine armor. How does your patient, doctor?
Not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled by fancies that keep her from her rest.
Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased? Pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow, and raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with a sweet oblivious antidote, cleanse the stuffed bosom of the heart, which weighs all stuffed.
Wherein, that's where the patient ministers to himself, my lord.
Throw physic to the dogs. I'll none of it. Seaton, come, put mine armor on. Come, sir, dispatch. Doctor, the thanes fly from me. Come. Canst, Doctor, purge the water from my land, cast her out, find her disease, and purge it to a sound and pristine state. And I would applaud thee to the very echoes. What purgative drug would scour the English hence? Pull it off, I say. Bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death and bane, till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane.
Aye, my good lord.
Cousins, I hope the days are near at hand when the chambers will be safe.
We doubt it nothing.
What is this before us?
It is the wood of Burnham.
Let every soldier shew him down a bough and bear it before him. Thereby shall we shadow the numbers of our host, ere in report of us.
It shall be done.
We learn no other but the confident tyrant keeps still in Dunsinane and will endure our setting down before it.
And none serve with him, but constrain things whose hearts are absent too.
Let our just censures attend the true event, and put we on industrious soldiership.
Time approaches that will with due decision help us know what we shall say we have and what we owe. Thoughts speculative or unsure hopes relate, but certain issue strokes must arbitrate towards which advance the war.
Our castle's strength will laugh a siege to scorn. Here let them lie till famine and the ague eat them up. Were they not reinforced with those that should be ours, we might have met them dareful, beard to beard, and beat them backward home. What noise is that?
It is the cry of women, my good lord.
I have almost forgot the taste of fear. The time had been, my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek. I have supped full of horrors. Direness, familiar to my slaughterous thoughts, cannot once start me. Wherefore was that cry?
The queen, my lord, is dead.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow. And tomorrow. And tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking fool, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Now comes to use thy tongue, thy story quickly.
Oh, gracious my lord, I shall report that which I say I saw, but know not how to do it.
Well, say, sir.
As I stood my watch upon the hill, I looked towards Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move.
Liar and slave.
Let me in for your wrath if it not be so. Within this 3 mile may you see it coming, I say a moving grove.
If thou speakst false, upon the next tree shalt thou hang alive, till famine cling thee. I pulled in resolution and began to doubt the equivocation of the fiend that lies like truth. Fear not till Burnham Wood do come to Dunsinane, and our wood comes to Dunsinane. Out! Out and arm! If that which he avouches does appear, there is no flying hence, nor tarrying here. I begin to be aweary of the sun, and wish the estate of the world were now undone. Ring the alarm bell! Blow wind! Come rack! At least we'll die with harness on our back.
How now, your leafy screen throwdowns? And show like those you are. You, worthy uncle, shall with my cousin, your right noble son, lead our first battle. Worthy Macduffin, we shall take upon what else remains, according to our orders.
Fare ye well. Do we but find the tyrant's power tonight? Let us be beaten if we cannot fight.
Make all our trumpets speak! Give them all breath, those clamorous harbingers of blood and
They have tied me to the stake. I cannot fly. But bear like I must fight the course. What's he that was not born of woman? Such a one am I to fear or none.
What is thy name?
Not be afraid to hear it.
No, though thou call thyself a name hotter than any is in hell.
The name's Macbeth.
The devil himself couldn't pronounce a more hateful title to mine ear.
No, nor more fearful.
Thou liest, abhorrent tyrant! With my sword I prove the lie thou speakst! Ah!
I was born of woman, but swords I laugh at, weapons smile to scorn, brandished by man that's of a woman born.
That way the noise is. Tyrant, show thy face! If thou be slain, and with no stroke of mine, my wife and children's ghosts will haunt me still. Either thou, Macbeth, or my axe I'll sheathe again undeeded. Let me find him fortune. More I beg not!
This way, my lord. The castle is gently rendered. The tyrant's people on both sides do fight. The noble thanes do bravely in the war. The day almost itself, Professor Shores. And little is to do.
We have met with foes that strike beside us.
Enter, sir. The castle.
Why should I play the Roman fool and die on mine own sword? Whiles I see lives, the gashes do better upon them.
Turn, hellhound, turn!
Of all men else I have avoided thee, but get thee back. My soul is too much charged with blood of thine already.
I have no words. My voice is in my blade, thou bloodier villain than terms can give thee out. Ah!
Thou losest labor. As easy mayest thou with thy keen axe impress, than make me bleed. Let fall thy blade on vulnerable crest. I bear a charmed life and must not yield to one a woman born.
Despair thy charms, and tell the angel whom thou still hast served. Macduff was from her mother's womb untimely ripped.
Cursed be that it was me so, for it hath cowed my better part of man. And be these juggling fiends no more believed, that palter with us in double sense. That keep the word of promise to our ear, and break it to our hope. I'll not fight with thee.
Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the show and gaze of the time. We'll have thee, as our rarer monsters are, painted on a pole and under it. Here may you see the tyrant.
I'll not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet, and be baited by the rabble's curse. Though Burnham would be come to Dunsinane, and thou opposed, being of no woman born, yet I will try the last. Lay on, Macduff, and damn be them that first cries, hold, enough.
I would the friends we missed were safe arrived.
Some must go off, and yet by these I see so great a day as this is cheaply bought.
Macduff is missing, and your noble son.
Your son, my lord, has paid a soldier's debt. He only lived but till he was a man, the which no sooner had his prowess been confirmed in the unshrinking station where he fought, but like a man he died.
Then he is dead.
Aye, and brought off the front. Your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, for then it hath no end.
Had he his hurts before?
Aye, on the front.
Why then, God's soldier be he, and so is Nella's Nold.
He's worth more sorrow, and that I'll spend for him.
He's worth no more. They say he parted well and paid his score, and so, God be with him. Here comes newer comfort.
Hail, King, for so thou art. The time is free. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl, who speak my salutations in their minds, whose voices I desire aloud with mine. Hail, King of Scotland!
Hail, King of Scotland!
We should not spend a large extent of time before we reckon with our several loves, and make us even with you. What's more to do? Which would be planted newly with the time as calling home our exiled friends abroad. Producing forth this cruel minister of this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen. This, and what needful else that calls upon us. By grace of grace, we will perform in time, measure, and place. So thanks to all at once, and to each one who we invite to see us crowned as Scone.